Morning guys, it's Dave from Military to Millionaire. Today I want to talk to you about 17 military lessons that are making me a millionaire. And this is important because there's a lot of stuff that the military teaches you that you may not even realize will correlate to your success if you take it, learn from it, and act. So with that being said, guys, make sure you stay through all the way to the end because the last 5 of these will encompass why I think that recruiting duty is honestly one of the best things that you could do in your career and not one of the worst, as everybody complains that it is. It'll help you immensely. Stay tuned. All right, so the first thing that I learned in the military that'll help me be successful is rising early. Now, this is not something you really have a choice to do when you get to boot camp and all of a sudden it's like, lights, lights, lights. And you get out of the rack, and you're up and you're running and your drill instructor's screaming at you, and it is what it is, but it gets you used to getting up early. Now, a lot of people revert back to their old ways after recruit training, but it's a good habit to have. So I currently wake up at probably 4:02, like every day on the dot, because that's when my watch starts going off so that I can't snooze anymore because I have to get up. I put my watch in the bathroom, so I have to get up and go get it. Like 4:02 every day, like clockwork for the last month and a half. And that gives me a lot of time in the morning to be successful. Now that kind of peels into the second thing, which is making your bed. You get up in the morning and then you make your bed. And that gives you, when you first wake up, that habit, as small as it may seem and as annoying as it may seem, that is an accomplishment that you get early in the morning. So that's like a small win. So mentally you're like off to a good start, because you did something. For one, you have a routine. For two, it's good order and discipline. But for three, and this is the most important, is it gives you a sense of accomplishment because you had that small win first thing in the morning. So now you're waking up accomplishing something rather than waking up, on the wrong side of the bed. So wake up early, make your bed. Those are the first two. Number 3 comes not very far down the road, and that is PT, or physical training. That's the left, right, lay-o stuff, when you're left, right, lay-o, hello, right, lay-o. All that good stuff that you will do in the morning to stay skinny, stay in shape, which all that's wonderful. That helps with your confidence. That helps with, life, like not dying, and being healthy and happy and wonderful. But the other good thing is the endorphins and everything. Just working out puts you in a good mood. Now, whether that's lifting or running or cycling or triathlons or whatever, working out puts you in a good mood. And again, doing it in the morning gives you a sense of accomplishment. So for me personally, I like to do cardio in the morning, lift in the evenings. It is what it is. Whatever you got to do, just make sure you're getting in some workout, at least like 30 minutes, 5 times a week. It'll pay dividends, I promise. All right, so the first non-tangible thing is initiative and being a self-starter. So the military kind of teaches you that, it pays to be a winner, and it gets you out of bed, and it tells you like, hey, this is what you need to do today. Now go figure it out, right? And so being able to take initiative and self-start is a huge, huge bonus in life, because you're steps ahead of all the people who wait and wonder, oh, well, someone's going to tell me what to do or how to do it. Like asking the question, hey, what's next, goes and pays dividends over just saying, oh, well, I didn't know what was next, so I didn't do anything, right? In employment, in entrepreneurship, in veteranpreneurship, whatever, initiative, self-starter, good thing to have. The next point is the ability to make stuff happen. So there's this book on the Commandant's reading list book called A Message to Garcia. It's like 20 or 30 pages. It's a super short read. Like the book's like this big and minimal pages, and it's like a 20, 30-minute read tops. But the whole point of this book is making stuff happen. And so in this book, there's this guy who is given the task to give a message to Garcia in combat. And a lot of people would have, run into obstacles and gone, oh, shoot, I don't know what to do there, and stopped and waited for someone to tell them. Or ask questions, which asking questions is not necessarily the worst thing you could do. It's good, it's progress. But this guy basically said, I'm going to figure it out. My job is to get a message to Garcia, and I don't care what it takes. I'm going to make that happen. Until that happens, I'm not done. Until I've exhausted every means possible, that is my goal, and I'm going to accomplish it. And that mentality is something that's stuck with me, and it needs to stick with you guys as well. So my recruiters used to hate this when I was on recruiting duty, because they would ask me a question, and I would probably know the answer, a lot of times, and I would just tell them, Google knows. Yeah, go ask Google. Yeah, hey, I bet Google can help you. And the point behind that was not that I'm a jerk or that I didn't want to help my Marines. The point was that when I'm not around, they need to be able to find those answers on their own. And so by training them to go through Google all the time, or not even Google, just whatever you got to do, it makes them resourceful, which allows them to figure out how to make stuff happen and fight through all the obstacles and just make it happen, rather than wondering like, oh, well, shoot, I'll have to do that later because I don't know. Decision making is another big one in the military, because in the military, the wrong decision can get people killed, but no decision is most likely going to get someone killed. Now, I mean, maybe not, depending on the situation, but there's a phrase in the military that is any decision is better than no decision at all. And, obviously there are times where no decision might have played out better than making a decision, but the point is that if you get stuck on the what ifs and the I don't knows and the who knows and the oh, what's going to happen, you'll never take action. And so being able to make that decision and say, here's the fork in the road, we're going this way, and here's why. And then sticking with it. Like, even if it goes wrong, right? There are so many times that decision might go wrong, but it is still better to do it than to just sit there and not make a decision and wait for your leadership to come and tell you. Because if you wait for your leadership to tell you what to do, you're never going to be able to figure it out on your own. You're not going to be able to take that next level of leadership. If you go and be a self-employed or an entrepreneur, you're not going to be able to be successful because you're just going to get left wondering what if all the time. And sorry, not going to cut the mustard. Lead by example. This one kills a lot of people. There are people in the military who don't do a good job of this. I'm not going to name names or give examples, but we've all had that boss or that person who, do as I say, not as I do. Yeah, screw that. Like, seriously, get the heck out of here with that crap. No, be an example. Be a good person, right? It doesn't matter if people are watching. It doesn't matter if people are around. Do the right thing. And that is basic human 101, Marine Corps 101, leadership 101, military leader 101, like just straight up do the right thing, set the example, right? So an example that people use with the military would be something like, hey, there's the leader who sits at the back of the battlefield and says, hey, you guys go into that battle. And then there's the leader who says, hey, follow me, we're going to battle, and charges. And there's a bunch of different examples of people like that. And I'm not saying that as a leader you need to be the one throwing yourself into the fire all the time, but the people under you need to think that you have their best interest at heart. And what better way to show them than to lead by example? Don't ask them to do something that you would not be willing to do yourself. The next point is poise. So poise is basically like maintaining composure when crap hits the fan. So it's the calm in the chaos. And the whole reason that this is important is because if you're freaking out, everyone underneath you is freaking out. But think Stonewall Jackson. There's a great example from the Civil War. Stonewall Jackson got his name and went down in history books because when crap hit the fan and bullets started flying and his guys got overrun, he stood there and he held his ground and his men saw it and they came back and went back to combat, right? Like, that is the ultimate example of poise, is knowing that this is a terrible situation and not showing it. Be the calm in the chaos. That'll pay dividends. You can't be the face of everything going wrong and be a leader or be in charge, right? Somebody who does have poise is going to become that face because people need a rock when stuff goes bad. So maintain poise, be a good person. Don't bring work and personal life and all that other crap. Like, don't bring all that stuff to work with you. Just don't. Okay, objectivity. I'm going to touch on this very, very, very quickly, but just know that as a leader, you need to be objective. There's going to be stuff that you might not agree with on a personal level, but it may be the right thing. So, we think about all this political mumbo jumbo that's going on right now, like people on the left hate people on the right hate people on the left. These guys think these guys are crazy, these guys think these guys are crazy, everybody's crazy. But the reality is, like, if we take gun control, there's this really far this way and there's this really far this way, and they both have these ideas that to this person, this one's ideas are crazy and vice versa. But if we looked at facts and came in the middle, I bet we could come up with a good solution. But people are not being objective. They're letting their emotions run wild and, oh, that doesn't feel right. Oh, that doesn't feel good. So they get all fired up. And we just put all that down and become objective, we'd solve a lot of the world's problems. So emotions don't belong in leadership. Leave them out of workplace. Courage. Sometimes doing the right thing is not easy. I mean, it's as simple as that. If you have to tell someone they're wrong or correct them, it's not an easy thing to do. It needs to be done. And they may not take it the right way, but, it is what it is. At least you tried. So just know that moral courage, doing the right thing, physical courage, being brave, having the courage to do what's necessary when other people aren't stepping up to the plate, is an awesome trait. And the military is good at breeding that into our culture. Okay, so shout out to Jocko Willink for his book, Extreme Ownership. So taking ownership is one of the points in here that I got from the military. And part of the reason I'm bringing this up is Jocko is because, for those of you who don't know Jocko Willink, he was a Navy SEAL commander, Task Force Bruiser, Iraq, just an awesome man. And so taking ownership is one of the things that he's always talking about, and just making sure that you as a person are willing to take ownership of your faults. It's not always going to be easy to do that, and admitting when you're wrong isn't easy. And you know, sometimes it could be little things, like if you're 15 minutes late to work, that may not seem like your fault because there was all this traffic, but the reality is if you'd left 15 minutes sooner, you would have made it on time. So start thinking that way, thinking as far as, okay, this happened, maybe it wasn't necessarily my fault, but it's my responsibility to fix it. How am I going to fix it? Okay, well, now I need to figure out how to back plan to make sure that doesn't happen again and fix the problem. So maybe not necessarily taking fault with everything, but take responsibility for it and figure out how to better yourself. Take ownership. Tact. This goes back to the courage thing. Sometimes you're going to have to tell people things that you don't want to tell them. And guess what? You got to do it. But you need to do it professionally. Telling someone to go F themselves is not going to help them understand or empathize with your point. It's going to basically get you to told to go F yourself, and then what? Now we just both go to hell and nobody gets anything done. No, be tactful, be polite, be a good person. But yeah, tell them what's wrong in a nice way. All right, guys, so recruiting duty is like the most hated duty in the Marine Corps, and I'm sure a lot of the other branches of service. But the reason that recruiting is such a valuable thing to have gone through is, I'm going to give you 5 points right now for why recruiting is something that'll shape your life. So the first is planning. We have to do a monthly, weekly, and daily plan on recruiting. A month in sight, week in sight, day in sight. And every day we sit down. For my office, it was like 0830, 09, every single day, sat down and I went through the daily plan with all my recruiters. Once a month, we went through the monthly. At the end of the week, we went through the weekly, so on and so forth. And you go through, what's your goal? What do we need to do this month? Okay, now what do we need to do this week? Now what do we need to do today? And then we would refine each other's plans, right? And we were pretty honest about this. There were some times that the tact kind of wasn't as tactful as it should have been, but we helped each other with our plans. And that ability to plan out in advance and stick to it and understand the consequence if you deviate from your plan is huge. So I would recommend going on recruiting so that you understand how to plan and set goals in a very effective manner. Another big one is public speaking. So I'm, as you can tell, not the best with my hands still, but I'm still a lot better as a public speaker than I was at one point. Like, for those of you who don't know, I was homeschooled. I was this like shy, nerdy little kid with like curly hair or whatever. Public speaking was not necessarily my favorite thing. In fact, it's supposed to be like the #1 fear in the world for people. And recruiting duty will pull you out of that shell because you're going to talk to high school classes, you're going to talk to the band room, you're going to talk to football teams, you're going to talk to, principals and mayors and maybe even the governor. We had the governor of Kansas City at a Marine Corps ball. He was a Marine. You're going to get in front of people and give speeches, and sometimes it's even going to be like an award ceremony where there's like 500, 600, 700 people, parents, whatever, and you're going to have to give a talk. And sometimes it's not going to be very well planned, and sometimes the mic's going to go out, and who knows. But you're going to get over that fear of public speaking. And recruiting duty, even the school does a very good job of getting you prepared to speak publicly. So that's a huge benefit. If you can speak publicly, you're just so far ahead of all your peers who can't. Networking. I learned how to network, how to build rapport, how to be a decent person and be a person that brings value to others so that they want to know you. As I always say, be a person worth knowing. But building rapport and getting to know people and networking is a huge asset. And that's a big part of recruiting is you got to be able to network and you got to be able to play the like, oh, do you know so-and-so game? So that they're like, oh, yeah, I do. And you know him. So, okay, now we've got a bridge. And it is what it is. There's a lot of techniques to networking. And it's a very, very powerful skill. In fact, that's probably the only reason you're watching this right now is because at some point you and I networked or were introduced via somebody that I networked with. So, yeah. Take it for what it is. Networking is awesome. Positive mental attitude. Now, this is not necessarily something recruiting duty teaches you, but this is something you learn on recruiting duty because if you cannot fake the smile, even when you're miserable, you're never going to recruit anyone. Like, nobody wants to talk to Mopey McGee, right? So you need to be able to come in on a really crappy day and be like, hey, what's going on, guys? Woo, rock on! And in just a good mood because yeah, nobody wants to hang out with mopey dude. And it is what it is, you know. I mean, have a positive mental attitude. It will go a long way in life. There were days. Don't get me wrong. Every recruiter had its day. It was like one day every week, somebody was just miserable to be at work, and we all had to come in and try to cheer them up, because at the end of the day, if they're not happy, they're not going to recruit nearly as well as if they are happy, because nobody's going to want to talk to them, right? You can't build rapport with a sad person. I mean, you can, but it's not as easy. So sometimes you're not happy, but you got to force it. And you know, there are actually studies out there that if you fake the funk, if you smile and dial, if you make yourself smile, it'll help boost your positive mood. So I would just say that if you are struggling with the idea of positive mental attitude, just smile all the dang time, and it'll really help. It genuinely, psychologically will help you. So do it. And the last reason that recruiting duty is awesome is sales. Your entire life is selling. I'm selling myself to you right now. Like, if I'm terrible, you're not going to come back and watch or subscribe, or, you know, subscribe, hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, to my channel. So, you know, I hope that you guys don't hate me. But on a real note, sales. If you go in and interview, you're selling yourself to the company that you want to get hired by. You want a good fitness report or a promotion report, you got to sell yourself to your boss, right? Like, if he doesn't think you're doing good as far as great work, then you're not going to get a great promotion report. You're not going to get promoted. A spouse. You gotta sell yourself on dating, and then on marrying, you know, whatever. Sometimes you gotta sell yourself on kids. There's a lot of sales in life, and if you can't sell, it's gonna hinder you. This is probably one of the most important skill sets that you could learn in life. And no, I do not mean sales in the mindset of, like, you know, the used car dealer negative connotation that it gets. I mean sales as in, like, networking, finding out what somebody needs, and then bringing something to the table to help those needs, and then producing, you know, a positive result for everyone involved. Especially in the real estate realm, which I'm big on, sales is huge, because, I mean, every real estate transaction involves a seller and a buyer, so there is sales everywhere. Definitely a valuable skill to learn. So definitely understand sales. What better way to learn sales than spending 36 months trying to sell people on, you know, spending 4 years of their life in the military? I mean, it's not an easy job. There's no commission bonus. There's no, I mean, it is what it is. Like, you're trying to sell the military, in my case, the Marine Corps, to people so that they join the military. And it's not easy. But if you can sell that, you can probably sell anything. I feel like selling a car would probably be a little bit easier than selling somebody on spending 4 years of their life in the military. Not as beneficial, because the military is amazing, but that's a different story for a different time. All right, guys, this was 17 military lessons that are helping make me a millionaire, and they'll help you too if you stick with them and learn from them and then act on them. So do me a favor, if I forgot some, go ahead and comment down below. I would love to hear what other lessons you guys have thought about that you've learned from the military that'll help you with leadership, with life, becoming a millionaire, becoming a billionaire, you know, dream big, 10x, blah, blah. Whatever the case may be, I want to hear what you guys thought of this. Maybe I missed some. Maybe you think there's some in here that shouldn't be in there. Go ahead and let me know. And then subscribe, selfless plug, so that you can get some more of this content and learn more from me, and, you know, help us grow as a channel so that we can bring you better content. Click the little bell so that you're notified of all our new videos. So just in case you don't know, every Monday is a video like this, where it's me and my thoughts on life and real estate and, you know, whatever the topic is. Every Wednesday is a 2-minute book review, and every Friday is a interview with maybe a veteran who got out and is an entrepreneur, a vetrepreneur, or maybe just an entrepreneur in general who's been very successful in real estate or in life that has something to bring to the table. So with that in mind, guys, I really hope that you stick it out, because this channel is going to get big. It's going to bring you a lot of value. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.